No, I would say root for Travis Kelce to
come back.
Because
All right, fellas. This was Travis Kelce earlier yesterday on his podcast, talking about his future in the NFL, and it is leading some to believe that he may have played his last game.
Just wasn't our day. Couldn't find a lick of momentum. I'm kicking myself for some of the tiny decisions I made on the field. I wasn't the best leader that I could be in motivating my guys and keeping my guys, calm, cool, collected. And I put a lot of that on myself as, the guy that's been in the building for 12 years and seen a lot of football and actually seeing a situation just like this in the Super Bowl. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a hard reality, man. I love my teammates. I love my coaches, Chiefs Kingdom. I'm sorry for how it ended. I have a beautiful life, man. I have loved ones. I have the most amazing family in the world that supports me in everything that I do. And they were all there, cheering me on and hoping for the best on Sunday, man. I wish things would have went different. I wish I would have made better decisions early on and helped my guy Pat out and helped my team, find that momentum or that confidence. But, I just have to tip my hat to the Eagles.
So that was Travis Kelce. I think there was some other stuff too about
that bite that you just played there did not lead me to think he was quitting or retiring. Mm-hmm. Did it lead you to feel that way?
When I hear it, I wonder. He sounds like a guy who very well could have definitely hung them up if they had won. I really think that was, and I know we had this conversation. You've said that would have been crazy. It sounds to me like a guy who definitely that was on the table had they won. And I think the only reason he's maybe thinking about coming back is because it ended as poorly as it did for the Chiefs.
Listen, I've said just kind of in general terms, if you are a player that still enjoys playing and has something left, I think it would be silly, and it's obviously being presumptuous and a bit boisterous to say. I think it's foolish to step away when Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks that's ever done it, is in his prime. Mm-hmm. But look, having retired at the age of 28, almost 29, or no, I was 28 years old when you're done. It's better to leave a little bit earlier than later. And you're not doing yourself and you're not doing your team any favors if, in fact, your heart's not 100% in it and you don't have, the drive to do whatever is necessary to get your body ready to, or if you think that your body's not capable of playing. So maybe that's where he is. Maybe he, to come back for the sake of coming back is not the right thing to do.
And I know he's talked a little bit about not having been in the best. I think he did address not being in the best shape entering the season this year. And so I think he touched on, approaching things differently if he does come back. But I also wonder, is it as easy if he'll be entering his age 36 season if he does play this year? Is it as easy as just, rededicating yourself at this age now, having kind of let it go for a year?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can just get it back. And I'll harp on the fact that he really looked really slow this season. And
my daughters, two of my daughters watch a lot of football, and they have been adamant all year.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, there's no other player that they've had like this detailed report on. Both of them are like, when is he retiring? He looks so slow. I was like, when did you become an NFL scout?
But I'm telling you, this year it's been glaringly apparent.
No, you're right. There's no wiggle there the way there used to be.
Yeah, and you know what it was too? I've somebody, maybe it was might have been Barnwell or somebody who mentioned, he's always been so skilled at kind of, him and Mahomes have had that mind meld where they're just on the same page when it comes to sitting in the zone and where they need to be. And he hasn't always been the most, acute route runner in the NFL, but him and Mahomes have. And so if you can't get by because of you're lacking some of the athleticism that you once did.
He's been getting by with what they call cunning and guile.
Yeah, and maybe there's just not enough cunning left these days to keep it going, because his yards per catch fell well below 9 yards per catch. It's the first time in his career it's ever been below 10.
And maybe that's where you were going next, Tyler. But if
there is a Bears angle to this,
okay,
that I want
let's
to
hear
bring
it
up.
But I was just going to say real quick, that may be a blessing for a Chiefs team if he's not going to dedicate himself to getting back, or he's not capable of, or the clock has just run out on him and he walks away. That's going to benefit a Chiefs team that does not have a ton of cap space, but does have a ton of needs on the edge with playmakers.
Absolutely. So right now, the Chiefs currently have 38 players signed for next season. Obviously, you got to get to 53. They do have a number of draft picks to work with, too. Their current cap space situation is $11.5 million. If, in fact, Travis Kelce retires, that opens up about another $20 million for the Kansas City Chiefs. And number one on a lot of Bears fans' wish lists in free agency this offseason is a member of the Kansas City Chiefs in Trey Smith. If Travis Kelce walks away, that may open up an opportunity for the Chiefs to bring back Trey Smith. Should Bears fans be rooting for Travis Kelce to return next season, or ultimately, is there just too many needs and roster spaces that need to be filled up for Kansas City to warrant bringing back Trey Smith?
No, I would say root for Travis Kelce to
come back.
Because we saw, where did this game go sideways for the Chiefs very early at the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Now, you're going to get Joe Tooney kicked back into a guard where he's an all-pro, and you're going to have Creed Humphrey, who's an all-pro at center. You need to find a left tackle.
Sure. And maybe a right tackle, because Jawan Taylor's been kind of a mess, too.
Right. But at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if, based on what transpired in the Super Bowl, that they try to find a way to keep him.
Well, especially, I think that's the key point, is if Kelsey's gone, if he retires, all of a sudden there's a path for the Chiefs to re-sign Trey Smith, because they'll have that additional money. And, oh, by the way, you know who really did step in and fill a void last year a little bit was Rashee Rice.
Yes.
Now, he was dealing with a torn ACL, so he was out all year, and he'll likely be suspended for at least 4 games next season. But he is the guy who's on the Chiefs roster who, if Travis Kelce retires, he kind of would step in and I think fill the biggest void. Even though Noah Gray has had moments as a backup tight end, I think Rashee Rice's return would be somebody who the Chiefs would look at and say, we don't need to necessarily go out and spend big on a tight end to replace Kelce, because we've got him coming back, and he kind of does some of the similar things that Kelce likes to do.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think Xavier Worthy made tremendous strides in the second half of the season and is proving that he's going to be a difference maker. So, I'm from a Bears perspective, I think it's a good connecting of the dots. I would hope that Travis Kelce would come back, and then it makes it less likely that the Chiefs would have the cap space to bring Trey Smith back to KC.
Jeremy Fowler did his NFL overhaul tiers. Who's contending and rebuilding for next season in the NFL? These are the different tiers. I don't know if you guys have read this and saw where the Bears slotted in. So the tiers are still major contenders, on the cusp, need a postseason breakthrough, teetering contenders, headed on the right track, stuck in the middle but a move or two away, stuck in QB purgatory. This could go either way. New coach, new direction, rebuild in the works. Yep, still rebuilding. If you had to guess, I don't know if you've read it yet or not, but where the Bears are.
Have you seen it?
I have not, but you gave me a lot of
options.
Yeah, so
what were the options again for Meller?
Formulate them again.
Still major contenders.
Nope.
On the cusp.
Okay.
Need a postseason breakthrough. Teetering contenders. Headed on the right track. Stuck in the middle but a move or two away. Stuck in QB purgatory. This could go either way. New coach, new direction. Rebuild in the works. Yep, still rebuilding.
I mean, see, I feel like the new coach, new direction is the one that Fowler will have placed them in, although heading in the right direction was my initial thought. Are they in either of those?
Neither one is correct. I was a little surprised by where they went.
I was too. I thought because these are all kind of in somewhat of order.
And the other thing, too, is I feel like some of these are too similar to deviate, but go ahead. Where does he place them?
I thought, listen, I mean, new coach, new direction was the obvious, right?
Yeah, but you could kind of see with the group in there,
right?
Too,
because the two teams there are the Jags and the Saints.
Yeah. So the one that they fell into was this could go either way.
Yeah.
And they're grouped in there with Arizona and Miami.
Meaning, try to read the tea leaves here or interpret this. This could go either way, meaning what? That this could get really better, or we could be, worse than 5-12?
I think that's
or just
kind of what they're
treading,
telling us here.
treading water?
I almost feel like if they're 5-12 again, that's part of either way. I don't agree with that. Maybe
they have 60. It says here they have $60.6 million in cap space and 9 draft picks. And the average age of the roster is 26.3. Those are some of the other specifics. I would say new coach, that's where I would have placed them, was new coach, new direction.
Yeah, I don't like this at all.
Fowler writes, total 20, they have total of 9 draft picks. What's next? He writes, despite last season's struggles, the Bears have balanced adequate roster help and a healthy cap outlook well. They are in a position to spend once again to add improvements for new coach Ben Johnson. The place to start is clear, offensive line. Yes, free agent guard Trey Smith is ideal, but he likely will reset the guard market, and the Chiefs could attempt to keep him. Other options include Zach Martin, Will Freese, is it Freeze or Fries, and Drew Dahlman. The Bears have several veterans whose contracts offer cap space if released, such as DeMarcus Walker, Gerald Everett, and Kevin Byard. So I thought for sure they would fit better in the new coach, new direction category, not the this could go either way. Because if this doesn't go in the right direction this year, I told you I may be on a bear cot.
See,
I will never bear cot, but you know what I'm saying. If this doesn't get better and this looks anything like what we've seen recently,
I have a hard time envisioning a scenario where it can only be moving in the right direction based on the way everybody feels about Ben Johnson. Listen, he might not ultimately be the guy who leads them to a Super Bowl title, but at the very least, I think he's going to help them enter the new era of NFL football where offense is the key to building a sustained contender. And with Dennis Allen in place, some of the defensive pieces they already have on the roster, they're going to be better than they were last year. They can't be worse. I just can't wrap my head around finding a way where a Ben Johnson-led team is worse than what Matt Eberflus and they offered up last year.
Well, that's why I said that it's odd to me that they're in this could go either way.
Yeah.
I think this anything's possible. But this is what I'm saying. If they don't make progress, which would mean this is going in the right direction, I would be
stunned.
More than a little shocked. I'm not going to make some stupid prediction. I won't even go as far as last year. I knew there were issues with the coach. I knew there was issues with the offensive line. I can't really tell you where I think they're going to be ultimately till after I see them go through free agency and the draft.
Yeah.
Because I think a real question mark for me is just how much influence will Ben Johnson have on the evaluation process in those two avenues. So I can't imagine that this team is a 5-win team next year. Now, again, we've gone over this. Their schedule is brutal. But that can change, week to week.
It looks brutal on paper, but things,
right.
Like you said, change.
I just don't know how they should have won more than 5 games this year. I'm not telling you that they were a top half of the league or a top third of the league talented team, but they should have won more than 5 games this year.
And so many people around the league, Ben Johnson, they landed the top coach in this coaching cycle,
and arguably for the teams looking to fill out a coaching staff. Wouldn't you say Dennis Allen was the best defensive coordinator hired?
Probably.
So you got the best option at head coach based on most people's opinions. Mm-hmm. And I would say the best defensive coordinator that was available to be hired as well.
And some other pieces on the coaching staff as well. Like a lot of people like Antoine Randall. A lot of people like Al Harris on defense.
Yes. I mean, listen,
backs.
I think Bieniemy as your running backs coach is a good
mm-hmm.
addition. So, again, that's just coaches. This is a players' league, but I don't know. I think people are, and I get it. I think people are reluctant to think that better times are ahead because people have felt that way in the past. I think there are a lot of people just sitting back and waiting. I'll believe it when I see it.
if we didn't see the Bears have the season that they had last year, I think a lot of people would be projecting this team to take one of the largest leaps in the NFL this year.
I agree with you.
But there's a lot of skepticism that's been baked into some of the minds. Like in a vacuum, this team should make one of the largest leaps year to year.
Yeah, again, and now listen,
When you factor everything in, $65, $70 million of cap space, 9 picks, some talented people or some talented players, and a new coaching staff that is light years ahead of what they've had in the past.
Yeah, like that's the thing is I keep getting back to this coaching staff is going to be so much better than what they had.
Look what they had last time. They had an accomplished defensive coordinator. Who was it?
Vic Fangio.
Where were they? First year Vic was a DC. They were the number 1 scoring defense in the league. They were top 5 the second year, and they got progressively worse as injuries occurred and Mac wasn't available. And then Vic left, didn't he? At what point?
Or was head coach of the Broncos?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So interesting. Again, it's one man's opinion, but I think that's interesting.